Hello, the purpose of this Follow My Mouse video is to provide you an overview of your very first course in the master's program here at Charleston Southern University. The first course is called Graduate Writing and Research, MSOM 600, and the purpose of this course is to help provide a transition into good research practices, good research processes, as well as effective writing as you transition back into college. And so I'm just going to go over a few things today that hopefully will be helpful for you as you begin this transition. This will be quite a lengthy video, but I encourage you to continue to watch it. And again, the hope is that it'll provide some good information for you as you go forward. So the assumption is you're logged into your class here in Blackboard. And the first place that's really a good place to start is called Start Here. So if you click on that, what you're going to see are several different videos, different types of projects to help you make sure that you're understanding how you're going to navigate Blackboard going forward. The first is to do a browser check. Sometimes Safari and other types of browsers are not very friendly with Blackboard, so I would encourage you to use either Chrome or Firefox going forward. Announcements in the degree program are very important. Your professor will have different uses for those. Some professors use them extensively and some use them infrequently, but nevertheless, I'll show you in a minute where you can find those. But again, watch this video and you can see where to access those. Finding your course information is another video you can watch. And as you see, these are 1 to 2 minute videos, so they are not very in-depth, but they are in-depth enough to give you an idea of how to go forward. These videos are about how to submit an assignment, how to check your grades, how to use the CSU online library. This is going to be very, very, very important. Research in an online program is not physically visiting a library. It's going to a digital or an online library, and CSU has a very good database selection at the CSU online library. So this will show you how to do that. This is an important one. I would encourage you to bookmark this. It's tech support if you run into any issues. And then one of the key areas, and I'll show you this in a minute, is the student community here that has many, many different links for you to go to get additional help. So that is all here under this Start Here tab. So I would encourage you to make sure that you take the time to watch those videos and to look at this information, okay? The next tab down here, announcements. As I mentioned earlier, your professors will use different techniques in their announcements. Sometimes they'll give you an introduction there, they'll give you videos, they'll give you recaps of prior weeks, they'll give you previews of upcoming weeks. And one of the things they may do here, if you have a digital book, which many of the books at CSU are executed digitally, then they will provide the link here to your digital book. And so that's important to note. It's also important in this particular class, you'll have a digital textbook link, and if there's any problems that you encounter with access codes or anything else, you'll see under this particular announcement that it gives you the CSU bookstore called Slingshot. And so you have an 800 number here as well as a support email with key dates and so on and so on. So the oldest announcement's on the bottom, the newest one's on the top, and so I would encourage you every time you log into the course to make sure that you look at the announcements to see if perhaps there's a new one in there since the last time you've logged in. Okay? So we've got Start Here, we've got announcements. Now let's go to course information. You click on that, and in this particular course, you'll see a course description, you'll see course objectives, and then you'll see the syllabus. The syllabus is really, really important because it has all kinds of information that'll be beneficial for you. For example, this has the grading scale. In graduate school versus undergraduate school, the grading scale is much more aggressive. And so where you may have had between 90 and 100 as an A in your undergraduate world, in the graduate world, it's 93% or higher. The other thing you'll see in this particular program is we don't go on percentages, we go on points. And so there'll be 1,000 total points in this particular course. And in order to earn an A, you have to obtain 930 points. And so make sure that you look at this syllabus. Don't just let it go past you. This course map is not that important. What it does do, however, is from accreditation perspective, it provides outside people the ability to look at how the course outcomes map back to the activities in the course. So if you are interested from a academic perspective, that might be something you want to look at, but overall, most of you will not be looking at that. The main textbook in this course is the Read Guide for College Writers, 12th edition, and it will be delivered to you digitally from Slingshot. And so, again, if you have any issues with that, go to the announcement on the home page and contact Slingshot. And then the APA manual, 7th edition, should have been mailed to each one of you. So that's all under the course information tab. All right. And so you're probably wondering, all right, I've got all that background. I've watched those videos. I've done the start here. I've looked at the announcements. I've read the syllabus backwards, forwards, upside down, and every other way you can. Well, what do I have to do? Well, we make it pretty easy here. We say, okay, it's the very first week. So I'm going to click on week 1. And so here's what you do. You have a week 1 overview that gives you a couple of paragraphs there to read. It will also give you the objectives for that particular week. So this week there are 6 objectives. And in this class, not every class does this, but in this class there will be a week 1 overview video. So make sure you watch the video. It will give you some nice tips on what you need to be doing that particular week, okay? And so that'll set you up to be able to come down here to a section called Read and Study. So you click on Read and Study, and it will give you the textbook readings that you have to do that particular week. So this week you have Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 that you need to read in your assigned textbook. And then there will be lectures for each particular chapter in this class. So Chapter 1, you'll be able to read that, and then you'll be able to look at the highlights from that chapter, the way that the course developers set it up. So you'll see Chapter 1 lecture, Chapter 2 lecture. I would encourage you to make sure you read that, but these chapter lectures provide a really good synopsis of the reading materials that you have, okay? This is a particularly important tab in this course because what you're going to be doing is writing a paper. And the paper will be a cumulative paper where you will be adding to it each week. And so in the 7 weeks of this course, you'll be doing different activities each week that will take an outline for a paper, and you'll be building upon it every week. So you click on that, and it gives you 2 different things. It gives you the paper writing process lecture, so you need to make sure you read that. And then it will give you the 6-stop paper writing process template. You need to make sure that you download that because that template will be what you use going forward to develop and add to your paper each week. So this is very, very important in this particular class, okay? And then down here you'll also have an APA lecture on plagiarism, and then there is a link to the CSU online library to a discussion on plagiarism. Plagiarism is very, very important that you understand what it is. We take that very seriously. You cannot use someone else's words or their thoughts without giving them credit for it. And so if you want to get yourself into academic trouble really quickly, then don't pay attention to the plagiarism pieces here, and you'll find yourself in big trouble. So make sure you don't skip over these as you go forward, all right? And so that is the Read and Study here. under week 1. So again, now we have the overview. You have the overview video. You've read the information. You've watched if there are videos in here. So what do you have to complete this week? So we make it pretty easy. We say do this week. And so the week ends on Sunday nights each week. And so by the due dates that your professor has set out for you, you're going to have different activities. This very first week, you're going to have a discussion where you're going to give a personal introduction to each other. And the way that you do that is you click on that heading and you can create a thread. All right. Now let me put this in student view. I'm using this as faculty view. So what you're going to be able to see here in week 1 with student view is exactly what you're going to be seeing here for due this week. So I'm back here to the discussion here for week 1. Share with each other your personal information. So you're going to see this, and you'll see this in most all your classes. This is a post-first discussion forum. So you're not going to be able to see anybody else's posts until you post one yourself, okay? Because we don't want you waiting to see what somebody else posted and then use some of their information and everything else. We want you to be original in your thought. And so you click here on Create Thread. You'll type this in the subject line. You'll type this in a text box. Here you have all kind of formatting tools. And whenever you're ready to submit that, you hit Submit. Now, you can save your draft, but I don't want you to make a mistake. If you save the draft, no one can see it yet, and your professor can't see it yet. So it's only after you hit Submit that it can be submitted for grading and that your fellow classmates can see it. All right? Now, Blackboard gets kind of wonky sometimes, and if you type this up in a Word document and copy paste it in here, sometimes your formatting gets a little squirrely. So just know that you may run into some particular challenges in those areas. All right. So that is the discussion. In this class, the professor also uses journals. And journals would be a discussion between you and the professor. Discussions here are discussions that everybody can see. So regular discussion forums, if you post something and submit something in there, everyone in the class, including your fellow students and the professor, can see it. Here under the journal, if you provide a piece of information, I'll show you in a minute, with the journal, it's a conversation between you and the professor. So let me click on that. And you'll see the instructions here, what you're supposed to do. You'll also look at the instructions here when things are due. So in this class, you need to post your initial journal entry by Thursday. Your professor will very quickly look at that, respond to you, and then you have to respond to the professor's post by Sunday night. So up here, you'll see Create Journal Entry. So you will click on that. And the formatting here is exactly the same as if it were a discussion forum. But again, this is just a journal conversation between you and your professor. So you type in all your information, you put a title there, and you hit Post Entry. All right? So that is the second assignment that is due in the first week. And the third thing that is due in the first week would be a short answer. And so you look at what you're looking to do and what the professor's looking for you to do here in the short answer. But down here, it's important for you to note that you have to use this short answer template. All right, so it's a Word document that has a cover page on it, and all the instructions on how to complete that are here. And then you need to name the file according to this convention. So let's say, for example, that your last name is Jones, and this is a short answer for week 6. Then you would just save the file name Jones SA6 and then upload it. And here's what you do with that. So you click on that particular assignment, and then it gives you the ability here, as you scroll down, you can see the rubric, to browse your local files on your computer to pick the file that you've saved for this short answer exercise using that template, and then you're able to submit it, okay? And so make sure that you do that. Make sure that you use that short answer template, and make sure that you use that file saving convention for the professor. The reason that you use that file saving convention that way is it's much easier for the professor to search for your paper. For example, if you have a question on how the professor graded a particular assignment, uh, it's much easier because the professor will normally save it on the cloud or somewhere else. It's much easier if you say, I have a question on short answer from week 6, and your last name is Jones. Your professor can just go into his or her computer and go Jones Essay 6 and find it very, very quickly. All right? Now here's the big deal for this course. The big deal for this course is this paper that you're going to be building over 7 weeks. So remember, back in the read and study, you had the 6-stop model template that you saw. And so each week you're going to be adding different pieces of information. Here, in the first part of the assignment for week 1, it gives you some necessary information. You need to make sure that you read this and that you're clearly understanding who the audience is for this paper and what the reason for the paper is. And so it'll be really important for you to make sure that you look at that. And then down here will be the paper, the project weekly edition schedule, and what you're supposed to be adding. Each week you're going to understand more by looking at the information that you have there. And then here for week 1, don't overthink this. Week 1 will be the easiest perfect score in this class that you will get. And what you're doing is you're just taking the template that is being provided, and you're changing the cover page and putting your personal information on it. The more important message here is just for you to understand and look through the rest of the template to see what you're going to be doing over the next few weeks and the process and the headings that you're going to be using. So don't overthink this as you go forward, okay? And then other pieces of good information here, if you scroll down, the CSU Learning Center is important. You've got a link here to the CSU Library. I mentioned this earlier. The CSU Student Community is a great tab to follow because it will give you additional information on where to go, where to find things, the Writing Center. And oh, by the way, if you are a student at CSU, you get to get a free Microsoft 365. So that is in here off of that link. So make sure that you look at that information as well. And then finally, if you click on My Grades, you're going to see everything in the course that you're going to be getting a grade on. There will be a link to the rubric for that particular assignment, and you'll know that something's been graded when you see this over here populated with a number. So for example, if you see a 20/20, that means that you received a perfect score. So you'll come over here and you'll click on that, and it will take you to the grade book with the comments from your professor on that particular assignment. Make sure that you do that. In my courses, I go into a lot of detail on these, and most of our professors will do that as well. And this is where you're going to be able to see that. They're not going to email you your grades. They're not going to be do everything else. The grade book here under My Grades is a single point of contact for you to understand what your professor thought of the work that you're doing. Okay? Hopefully this recap has been helpful for you. If you have any questions, make sure that you reach out to your professor and talk. All right? Take care. Welcome to CSU.